game isn't even over yet, but they're going to get swept because they're down 6-0. They had first and third no outs. They didn't get a run home. They're absolutely pathetic. Let's go through this embarrassment. They come into this series in Citi Field, having lost, I believe, 9 of their last games there. It'll be 12 now after tonight. And not only do they get swept, but they just get embarrassed and expose themselves as one of the most mentally weak teams I've ever seen in my life. Okay, let's walk through this embarrassment. Game number 1, Alec Boehm causes a 20 or so minute delay because a microphone is shining some light in his eye as he hits into a double play. Okay, so bouncing ball Boehm pulls that stunt in game number 1. Game number 2, Jesus Luzardo has a complete temper tantrum on the mound in front of the umpire and in front of the entire crowd. Granted, the umpiring was terrible. Both ways, it hurt the Phillies more. That's not why they lost. Tonight, Taijuan Walker's on the mound. He's complaining that Brett Beatty or Jeff McNeil, one of the two, it doesn't really freaking matter, is in the on-deck circle and blocking his line of vision as he throws batting practice. That all happened in the span of 3 games. And you're thinking, well, what's the big deal? The big deal is this team is 22 games over 500 coming into this series, and they're complaining like a bunch of Little League losers. Meanwhile, the Mets are just obliterating the ball. They're batting like 500 with runners in scoring position. There's reports that the Phillies are tipping their pitches. Don't worry, I'm sure the Phillies will adjust in about a month or so when it doesn't matter. All they had to do was win 1 measly game in this series against the Mets, and the division was over. They were up 7 games. Now it's a 4-game lead, and the division for the Mets is still in play. Now, granted, I think the Phillies will win the division because this is all mental, and the Phillies will go back to beating up on shit teams like the Braves at home tomorrow, and the Marlins will beat the Braves a few times in the next series or beat the Mets the next series because the Mets aren't that good of a team. That's besides the point. Let's go everything wrong with this team. Let's start with Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm has got to be, I'd say he's the slowest player in baseball, but Giancarlo Stanton and Alejandro Kirk exist. This guy's probably one of the slowest baseball players relative to his physical attributes I've ever seen. How are you 6'6", 225 with long legs and long arms, and you're slower than Kyle Schwarber, who's fat? This guy is a complete waste of God-gifted ability. I shouldn't even say God-gifted. I don't believe in God after watching this team. This guy is so damaging on the base paths. He can't go first to third. Twice tonight, he couldn't tag up from third because he's so slow. Stop talking about this guy being good because he's a slap hitter. He's a third baseman. Among qualified third basemen, he ranks bottom 5 in all power categories, specifically OPS. He's terrible. He's an average defender at best. This guy is not good, and most of all, he's a mentally weak loser. He looks like a puppy. He looks like if somebody just watched their puppy got shot every time he gets out. He's pathetic. Nick Castellanos, I have no idea what he's doing other than going out there looking good and making the girls watch the game. Truly, it's pathetic. I mean, he swings at pitches he has no chance of hitting. He swings at pitches that are just pop-ups. There are no productive at-bats. He's got a negative, 1 WAR. He is a damaging baseball player. You traded for Harrison Bader, and what does Harrison Bader get as a reward for hitting a game-tying home run last night and being one of the only guys on this team that shows any amount of emotion? He gets to hit 9th behind Castellanos and Boehm. It's an absolute disgrace. Now let's get to the manager. I always think it's a little bit stupid when managers get the blame in baseball. This isn't like basketball or football where it's, a contact sport and it's a very strategic game. At the same time, this guy shows no emotion whatsoever when things aren't going their way. It's always, well, you know what? I'm too tired to get up and argue, or, let's get to the ballpark tomorrow. They'll figure it out. They have a track record of figuring it out. When a guy's getting shelled, he takes way too long to get that guy out of the ball game. He keeps bringing Kerkering into situations where he has to inherit runners, even though he's proven he hasn't been able to do that. Taijuan Walker gave up 4 runs tonight. It looked like he was going to give up 7. Still, didn't get anybody up in the bullpen. He's just slow to do everything. And this team looks like they've completely quit. Anytime they're facing, pretty much anybody, honestly. I was about to say any competitive team, but really anybody. They just have these at bats where they're swinging at the first pitch, and it looks like they've just given up. One of the biggest misconceptions is last year. The Mets beat the Phillies because the Mets were the hotter team going in. That's not true at all. The Mets won because they had a better lineup. They have hitters that actually work counts. When they get fastballs 2-1 down the middle of the plate, they crush the ball. They don't pop up like Bryson Stott. They don't ground out softly and on double plays like Alec Bohm. They don't pop up like Nick Castellanos because he swings every pitch. They just have a better offensive lineup. And they probably have a better manager too, who gets his guys motivated to play. And let me just say the last thing. I'm not even a big Justin Crawford fan. Justin Crawford is the son of Carl Crawford, if you don't know. He's in the minor leagues. He's tearing it up. I'm very skeptical of his long-term ability. That being said, at what point do you as an organization say we need a change, we need a spark plug? The only people performing consistently on this team are the vets. Every single young guy has failed you. Marsh has been inconsistent. Stott had 1 week where he was a good hitter against the Mariners. That was obviously a fluke. Bohm is a disaster. He runs like a giraffe on ice skates. At what point, where do you get off acting like you're some superior organization, like we're too good to call up a top prospect? We know how to do it the right way and not rush a guy. By the way, the Phillies are getting shut down by a guy tonight, Nolan McLean, whatever the hell his name is. This is his third start. The Mets just called him up, and he's helping them win games. Yet the Phillies are too good for that, apparently. He's not ready. He has to change his swing path. Guess what? If that was going to happen, it would have happened by now. Now you're losing. The division lead is going to be down to 4. You gave a Mets team that was completely, it looks like they gave up until this series. And not only did you give the Mets hope by losing this series, you came off as mentally weak. They're smelling blood in the water now. You played like a bunch of fucking losers this series. Really, it was embarrassing. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to all this complaining and crying to the umps, saying that microphone's blocking my view. It really is pathetic. And this is the exact same team that we saw in the playoffs last year and the year before, and even the year before, even when they made the World Series, they got no hit by the Astros. No approach at the plate whatsoever. They have no infusion of young talent. They all have such a loser's mentality. It's such a cliche thing to say, but for this team, it is absolutely true. So, it doesn't really matter what happens the rest of the regular season. They're probably not going to get a bye now. They'll probably still win the division because the Mets are bad. The Phillies are just making them look good. But everything this series that has happened this series has proved all of our concerns true. They just have no juice. So that's it. We'll see what happens. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm pissed. I'm done.